Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and not going to work. Not because you're sick. Not because it's a holiday. But because the money is already coming in without you doing anything at all. While you sleep, while you eat breakfast, while you sit in a park, your bank account is growing. Most people in France think this is a fantasy. Something reserved for the ultra-rich, for people who inherited money, for people who got lucky. But here's what's interesting. It's not a fantasy. It's a financial structure. And once you understand it, everything changes. The average French worker earns a modest monthly salary, decent enough to get by. But after rent, food, transport, and taxes, there isn't much left to build anything with. Most people are one unexpected bill away from financial stress. And yet, right now, in France, there are people earning 2, sometimes 3 times that average amount without showing up to any office, without answering to any boss, without exchanging a single hour of their time for money. Today, we're going to break down exactly how that works. 4 real, legal, and increasingly accessible ways to build a serious passive income in France. And the mindset behind each one. The first thing you need to understand is what passive income actually is. Not the social media version, where someone calls a side hustle passive because they only work 4 hours a day. Real passive income means your capital works for you. Your assets generate returns. The money you've deployed keeps producing more money, whether you're awake or not. In France, this kind of income is entirely possible. But it requires you to think differently about money. Instead of asking, how can I earn more? The question becomes, how can I make what I already have work harder? Let's start with the first method. Real estate through SCPIs. If you've never heard of an SCPI, you're not alone, but you should pay close attention. An SCPI, or Société Civile de Placement Immobilier, is essentially a pooled real estate fund. You buy shares in a fund that owns commercial properties across France and Europe. Office buildings, healthcare facilities, logistics warehouses. The fund collects rents from tenants, and each quarter, it distributes those rents to shareholders like you. No tenants to manage. No leaks to fix. No calls at midnight. The distribution yields across the SCPI market in 2025 have been genuinely attractive, with some funds delivering returns well above what most French savings accounts offer. And what makes this extraordinary is that you can start with very little. Some SCPI shares cost no more than a nice dinner in Paris. You don't need to arrive with a fortune. You build the position over time. Many investors also use leverage, borrowing from French banks at competitive rates, so the rental income from the fund effectively helps service the loan. The asset grows. The income grows. And you never knock on a single door. The second method is the PEA.
The Plan d'épargne en action.
This is one of the most powerful yet underused investment tools in France. A PEA lets you invest in European stocks and funds within a specific ceiling. And here is the extraordinary part. If you hold the account for at least 5 years, all gains and dividends are completely free from income tax. You only pay the social charges on withdrawal. That is a massive tax advantage that most French investors simply leave on the table. CAC 40 companies have historically paid solid dividend yields, and a well-constructed PEA portfolio that reinvests dividends over a decade can compound into something genuinely life-changing. The people who opened a PEA 10 years ago and kept adding to it quietly, methodically, without watching the news every morning, are today sitting on positions that generate serious passive income. Not because they were geniuses, because they were patient. The third method is assurance-vie. The French assurance-vie contract is not life insurance in the way most people think about it. It's a long-term investment wrapper, one of the most tax-efficient savings vehicles in the entire European Union. In 2025, the average funds en euros, the low-risk component of an assurance-vie, delivered a return of around 2.65%. After 8 years, any money you withdraw benefits from a significant tax allowance, and everything above that is taxed at just 7.5% plus social charges. For investors using the unit-linked portion of an assurance-vie, which is exposed to stocks and real estate funds, the returns in 2025 averaged close to 5% net. And compare that to the Livret A, France's most beloved savings account, which was cut to 1.7% in August 2025 and dropped again to 1.5% in early 2026, barely keeping pace with inflation. The people who understand this are quietly moving their money elsewhere. The assurance-vie is not designed to make you rich quickly. It is designed to protect wealth, compound it efficiently, and pass it on across generations. But in the context of a passive income strategy, a mature assurance-vie becomes a machine that quietly distributes money into your life with extraordinary tax efficiency. The fourth method is the one most people never even consider: digital royalties and intellectual property income. And before you skip ahead, hear this out, because this one doesn't require capital. It requires creation. In France, the intellectual property framework is robust and legally protected. Authors, musicians, photographers, software developers, and content creators receive ongoing royalties for work they did once, sometimes decades ago. A technical writer who publishes a detailed professional guide through a distributor can receive passive income for years. A graphic designer who licenses visual assets receives micropayments every time someone downloads their work. A developer who builds a software tool and lists it on a marketplace earns money while asleep. The French tax system treats certain intellectual property income through regulated channels favorably. Creators registered with societies like SACEM, SCAM, or SACD receive collective management payments automatically, without lifting a finger after the original creation. Some established creators in France earn serious passive royalty income purely from work they completed years earlier. The key insight here is that creative output, when properly structured, becomes a permanent asset. Not a job, an asset. Now here is the reality check. To build this kind of income in France, you need one of two things: either a substantial capital base, built carefully over time, or a long runway, time to build, time to compound, time to create. Most people fail not because the system doesn't work. They fail because they never start. They wait until they have more money. They wait until the market is better. They wait until life is less complicated. And time, which is the most irreplaceable ingredient in this entire equation, slips away. The French tax system is not particularly kind to high earners. Income above certain thresholds can push into the 41 and even 45% income tax brackets. Investment income, dividends, and capital gains face the flat tax of 30%, which includes both income tax and social charges. But every single method we've discussed today has a legal structure designed to minimize that burden. The PA shelters gains for 5 years and beyond. The assurance-vie creates a tax-advantaged extraction mechanism. SCPIs held within an assurance-vie can combine real estate income with insurance tax treatment. These are not loopholes. They are legal tools built into the French system. And the difference between someone who uses them and someone who doesn't is not intelligence. It's information. Here is what separates the people who actually build passive income from those who never do. They treat their savings rate like a non-negotiable fixed cost. They invest before they spend, not after. They understand compounding not as a concept but as a personal strategy. And they never stop learning about the system they live inside of. France has more tools for building passive income than most people realize. The livret A is not an investment strategy. It is a parking lot. The real vehicles, the ones that can change the trajectory of your financial life, are the PEA, the assurance-vie, the SCPI, and the quiet power of intellectual creation. Earning a serious passive income is not a number that falls from the sky. It is a number that is built, brick by brick, euro by euro, year by year. The people who will reach it 10 years from now are not the ones starting with the most money today. They are the ones who start today. The ones who take the first step while everyone else is still waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. If this video changed the way you think about money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because the next video goes even deeper into how the French tax system can actually work in your favor if you know where to look.